Today's video, we're going to talk about PMAX bidding strategy. Maximize conversions versus maximize conversion value bidding strategy inside your PMAX campaigns. This is basically bidding for conversions or bidding for conversion value. That is a revenue or a monetary amount that you tie to a sale or to a lead, or that you've scored a lead at a certain value. And with that, there's some information you need to know which one of these you need to pick for your campaigns to make the most money, because it's not an arbitrary choice. One is definitely going to make you way, and I do mean way more money when you choose one over the other. I'm going to cover the details, what that is about, and what will apply to you on this particular video. So I'm going to go through what the deal is, why these are so different in terms of the actual profit that the strategy will spin off for your campaign and for your business, in terms of the actual logic flow of how Google looks at you when you pick one or the other, and ultimately how that translates into more or less profit for your business. I'll also go into an actual case study where somebody had, after a consulting session, I had convinced them to switch from one to the other, how much of a difference that actually made on their bottom line profit that their campaign was making at the end of the day once they made that switch over. So with that said, I'm going to go into the content here, but before I do, I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, a online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is more profit before paying any kind of management fees. We are the only agency on the planet who offers any kind of contingency offer like this, which should tell you something about the quality of the information that you're receiving on today's video. And it's based upon 20 years of advertising experience. With that said, getting into the content as planned, the reason you will always want to use maximize conversion value bidding strategy typically on a PMAX campaign by default. So the default is maximize conversion value, and you need to talk yourself out of it to go maximize conversions if you're in a unique circumstance, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But with that said, and the reason for that is because otherwise, Google is simply going to optimize for the smallest transactions this way on your account. The reason for this is actually simple, but not so simple. I'm going to try to explain this in simple terms as possible, at least. So what happens if you have this PMAX campaign and you have a campaign that's set up on maximize conversions right now, and you're an e-commerce business? What is happening to you right now, and what can change for you if you switch over to maximize conversion value bidding strategy on that PMAX campaign instead? What you actually have is a campaign by default, if you're using maximize conversions versus maximize conversion value, that's optimizing for the smallest customers that spend the least amount of money. Something right up front that maximize conversions isn't the best way to go for your business, but the reason for that is, if you want some proof here, I always try to give reasons why on everything that I claim that will make more money, so you guys understand why you're doing it, so you don't have to just go on my word alone. If you're using maximize conversion bidding strategy versus maximize conversion value bidding strategy, Google's algorithm that drives the ads, that decides where your ad shows up, should it show up for a keyword, should it not, should it show up in this place or not, there's less demand for customers for advertising space in spaces that normally get smaller customers. So, because Google's system, it's run off an algorithm, but it's also based upon partially and fundamentally on market demand, or demand, and the supply and demand is there. That is a keyword that generates a lot of great customers. The cost per click to get in front of those type of people for that keyword is going to be much higher than a keyword that typically doesn't get as big a customers. So the demand's less for the customers that are smaller than they are for the bigger customers. So the cost per click to go after the small customers actually is less. And at the end of the day, it kind of like evens out, so to say, if you will. Generally speaking, that said, you will still make more money optimizing for customers that are of a certain size or volume. They spend the most money versus just they spend with you in general, because there's diamond in the rough opportunities there. The algorithm, when you are running your ad account, when you're running your PMAX campaign, is going to be able to notice certain proclivities about your customer base and why people specifically like to buy, when they like to buy a lot from you. There's individual types of customers who spend 10 times more than what the average customer spends. Google system's very smart. They look at thousands of different factors for each user that buys versus doesn't buy from you, how much they spend, how much they don't spend, and they pick up these little clues such as, oh, a person who normally is a whale customer for you, they normally visit one of these 5 sites over here before before they make any kind of Google search at all. And so if we see that, we're going to for sure 100% of the time have your ad show up, because your campaign's supposed to be optimizing for conversion value, not just for conversions in general. And it's always going to pay off, even if that means we have to bid double or even triple what you normally would be willing to pay or could pay to generate an ROI from your campaign here, because we know the payoff is there in terms of what the value of this particular profile of person is and has already. More likely than on average to buy more, spend more than the average customer you normally get. And that applies a lot with business to business. So a lot of e-commerce businesses, just as a small example here, they once in a while get business customers. It's not a huge part of their business, but they like the big juicy business orders that they get. That's 5% of their volume, has triple the profit margin because they're buying a lot of product. Ultimately, if you're optimizing for conversions, Google system's never going to put you in position to get more of those because it's not necessarily valuing them. You're saying not to value them by having maximized conversions bidding strategy on that PMAX campaign. So therefore, you're never going to get more of the whales because you don't have things set up right. Now, so there's less demand for customers that normally spend less, because normally if they spend less with you though, on average, they'll normally spend less with the competitor if they choose to go with them. What ultimately happens is with maximized conversion bidding strategy, Google is trying to get you the cheapest conversions possible. Those cheapest conversions are going to come from having your ad run in spaces that are less in demand because they have smaller customers. Therefore, it's easier to get a cheaper cost per conversion because the cost per click is less. The algorithm trying to optimize for cheap conversions is going to get you more people that spend less money, not more money. On top of this, here's another factor, another mind fuck you have to consider here when deciding whether you're going to go with maximized conversion value bidding strategies is Google likes to play favorites with their advertisers. And this is highly, highly controversial. I say it all the time because have personally been involved with getting results with hundreds and hundreds of Google Ads accounts before. It's probably been close to 1,000 already at this point in terms of fully managed, consulted people on, reviewed, seen things. I've been doing Google Ads for 20 years now. Back in the day, when you bid on a keyword like red shoes, that simply just meant your ad showing up for red shoes. There's no algorithm that's trying to identify if a person that your ad shows up for and the person searching for red shoes, do they really want your red shoes or do they want somebody else's red shoes? And then deciding to show your ad for that keyword or not show it, which is how it works today primarily. With that said, Google does this, but they also optimize their ads to consistently try to give users a better experience. So while they're shitifying the organic search results, and people have really noticed this recently, but it's not a mistake. They're making the organic result while consistently making the ads better. So that people on average, if they're going to make any kind of commercial search where they're looking for an item or service, they're going to be mentally trained to click on the ads because they've gotten good results clicking on ads in the before, and they're going to click on ads this time because they got a good result last time. And they did not get a good result when they clicked on the organic listings last time. Therefore, they're training their customer to increase the demand of their ads, which means they can make more money as a company. Okay? So they want people to, the guy with the most money as a customer in terms of buying their ad space, but that's a secondary goal to how can we get more people to click on ads in the future? And they do that by optimizing the ad space. You don't realize it. There's 4 ads at the top of Google. There's markets where there's 15 people cycling in and out of those spots, and they're deciding, should your ad show up for somebody and should it not? And ultimately, they're doing this on 2 levels. One of which is, does this person look like they're a good customer of yours? Or is this person that's coming through Google, does it look like they're going to be buying a better prospect for somebody else's offer? And so that micro decision's going on like literally between the time that the person hit the enter key on their keyboard and the ads show up. They're doing this, but they're also looking at all the history that you've ever had as an advertiser. Has your ads historically had a great click-through rate? Has your ads historically taken people to a website that converts at a high rate as compared to your competition? The people that do consistently better for that keyword in terms of the advertisers that are cycling in and out of the top 4 spots there, they're going to want to show more than somebody who hasn't done as good a job, because click-through rate and conversion rate indicates skill and ability to help users find what they want quickly and easy. Going back to what I was saying a minute ago about how Google wanting to optimize the ads to get people to want to click on ads more and more and more in the future, they're going to look at all the advertisers for this keyword and then try to push the ads of people who normally help their user find what they want quickly and easily and get a good result. That is, the ad was for people to decide to click on, and the website conveyed what they needed to convey quickly. The offer was good and relevant, and they got what they wanted quickly as well. They did not have to go back to Google to click on something else. With all this foundational knowledge here said, if you do a bad job as an advertiser, poor images, poor website usability, you don't understand pricing strategy, just all this other stuff, Google's not going to want to push your ad very aggressively, okay? They're going to send you a person who's the least likely to convert. So when the guy comes through that they know is a total tire kicker, they're going to show your ad if you're a poor advertiser, not the guy that they want to encourage to stick around. People that are the best advertisers in the space, they want to do absolutely everything they possibly can to encourage that person to stick around. They give them great deals on the clicks. They give them the person that's the most likely to convert. And the person they don't care to stick around, they give them conversely, the worst prospects that are least likely to convert. And they know that through all the machine learning they have of looking at every person that's ever came through for this keyword, who bought, who didn't buy. And so ultimately, okay, this has such a big factor on your results nowadays that if you start up a new account, it takes forever to get profitability because Google's going to treat you like the advertiser until you prove to them you're not a advertiser and give you some of that sweet, good quality traffic that the leading guy who's raking it in right now is getting. When a customer they know comes through Google that's really a whale, they're going to want to give it to you if you've done the work, like I talk about on this channel, to have the better ads, the better landing pages, and Google's algorithm knows it. If you're using maximize conversion value bidding strategy because you're telling the system, I want more revenue, not just more conversions, more revenue. More revenue per dollar of ad spend. So when that monster or whale prospective customer comes through that will likely buy a ton of stuff from you, they're going to want to give it to you if you're a good advertiser. But if you're not, you haven't been a good advertiser, you're lazy, you want to spend 15 minutes setting up a campaign and calling it good, they're going to give it to somebody else. On top of that, if you're using maximize conversion bidding strategy and that big whale customer comes through, they're double not going to want to send that person to you because they not only just don't like you, but you're saying, I don't care if the big customer comes through. So you have two things actually working against you. So I just wanted to point that out. You can't defy gravity. This isn't going to help you get and optimize for all the big customers and you continuously get more and more of them. You got to have that good, but you also got to have maximize conversion value bidding strategy. You've got to advertise, you got to build up data, and the more data you build up in your account, the more big customers you're going to get, the more sales you're going to get, but also the more opportunity is there. And ultimately, what maximize conversion value bidding strategy is going to do for you is it's going to maximize the total return you can get out of your market for people that are in market for what you're selling or however you're advertising. Because again, there's going to be certain prospects that are whales that you could pick up on using the algorithm that Google has that you'll say, I'll bid effectively by using maximize conversion value bidding strategy. I'll bid 3 times as much for this prospect because I know they are a whale customer. Therefore, you get a higher percentage of them, and you just never then, as a result of that, would have got as much revenue out of your account, whatever campaigns you're running, including PMAX, unless you had maximize conversion value bidding strategy. How much more can you actually make with maximize conversion value bidding strategy, given that the system's now going to double your bids for any good prospects that come through so that you can get a higher percentage of them? A lot of times just taking the budget away from people that are tiny customers and reallocating it to the people that are the whale customers for you automatically. The amount of the differential in profit you will make out of an ad account using maximize conversion value bidding strategy versus maximize conversions is going to be a factor of at least 2, if not 3 long term. Particularly if your conversion tracking is spot on, meaning all the sales are getting into your PMAX campaign, including any offline sales. That is, if somebody calls you and puts an order through the phone, you damn well get that back into your campaign if it's more than 10% of your order volume particularly. That tells you why, more than anything else, you should do this, but now you understand the why behind it, why you would want to switch over, even if you've been using maximize conversions bidding strategy for years now even. There might be a little bit of volatility switching over from one to the other for a couple of weeks, but are you going to really throw away 2/3 of your opportunity long term by not having it? No, there's no way you can justify that. It's a hypothetical question. Now, if you don't know, of course, you can always leave me a comment in the comment section. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment in the comment section, usually within 24 hours time. But you can also reach out to me at my firm. I will have a conversation with you about what you are ultimately doing. I can guarantee what kind of lift in profits we can bring you with a bunch of different strategies while we're at it. And then you will know for sure for your unique circumstance, should you be actually using maximized conversion value bidding strategy for your exact business type, niche type. So you should reach out to me if you're interested in working with somebody that can help you hold your hand through the process, so to say. Beyond that, also, we just wanted to mention, we've been also selling ad templates. If we worked in your niche market before, and we worked in over 100 niche markets in the last 10 plus years of running this firm, you can take the winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates, all of it that work for your niche market, and copy paste all those into your account. We sell the template for a small one-time fee. You're going to get the template. You're going to get the results that we're getting in a different geographic area, different city, different state, different country for yourself. And you didn't have to do any of the work or spend any of the money figuring out what we had to figure out over years in your niche market already. And while the template might be a 4-figure fee, a lot of people don't want to pay that. There's no freaking way that you're going to save money trying to figure out what we had to figure out over the years of all the split testing and everything else we've done. And at the very least, you should reach out to us and see what results we've got, because you can compare it to your current results and then you'll know what the value is right away. So if you're interested in any of those templates, you can also reach out to me. We got people that use these templates to start whole other businesses. If you want to start a gimme business to start a business that we've already got in a market we've gotten results for a client in, then use the same exact ad campaigns and sales funnels, all that for yourself, and you have a turnkey business. Or you could sell leads. We've got people that generate leads using our templates, mark them up, sell those leads to business owners who don't know how to market in that niche, and whole business from that. Subcontracting workout. You answer the phone, take the job, sub it out. Anyway, if interested in any of those opportunities, you can definitely let me know at my firm, guaranteedppc.com. Going back to the topic at hand here. Now, a couple other things to mention here in terms of maximized conversion value bidding strategy on PMAX versus maximized conversions bidding strategy on PMAX. Maximized conversion value bidding strategy doesn't apply for marketing one item. So that would be the exception, the rule, if you will. And for that matter, you're not going to go backwards using maximized conversion value bidding strategy if you just sell one item. It's just not going to provide you as much of a return, because at least Google then is going to be able to find the items that it should promote more. If you're an e-commerce business, that is. It's still going to get you more, okay? Just not quite as much. You could actually not lose as much using maximized conversions bidding strategy, because it still can find people that are going to be willing to buy more than one of that item. And on top of it, well, that'd be in the main case there. For that matter, if you're an e-commerce business, always use maximized conversion value bidding strategy to keep it simple. The other thing to mention here is this doesn't apply for marketing services for the most part, the way that most people think about doing PMAX for services. Now, I've mentioned on my other videos here before, you absolutely do not want to run PMAX for service campaigns. This is an absolute lazy approach to marketing your business, because there's very little control on PMAX campaigns, and there's a lot of variables in a service business. If you sell red shoes, pretty much the customers are not that much different from one another. They aren't. Somebody who is typing in divorce lawyer, there's a huge amount of people that are typing that in. People that are looking for a definition, trends, people that are looking for free help, so many different types of prospects out there. You don't want to run a PMAX campaign that's pretty much unchained. At the very least, if you were going to do it and you built up years of history in this PMAX campaign, you got okay results because through trial and error, Google eventually kind of sort of did a good job for you. At the very least, you should add offline conversion tracking to the process. So you could, when you have a good quality lead come in, you import that into your Google Ads account so the PMAX campaign can optimize for that, not just any lead. In fact, you'll get a lot of bot leads because your ads will run on display, network, and everything else, which is the main reason why you don't want to run PMAX for lead gen campaigns. If you're going to do that, you might as well also import whether that lead was good quality or not. You score it between 1 and 10. If the leads normally don't turn into a sale within 90-day periods, if your leads typically do convert into a sale within 90 days, then you import the revenue tied to that lead, that sale that occurred. So in other words, if it's a lawyer, like in the example I gave you a second ago, a divorce lawyer, we'll import to Google Ads whether the lead was qualified as an individual separate conversions. We'll track phone calls and form fills. That's separate goals. Then we'll have another goal that tracks qualified leads. That goal will trigger every time we have the lawyer that has verified this lead was qualified. They spoke to him. They wanted divorce lawyer services, which is the main thing there. And then if they bought something, then we import the revenue tied to it. So eventually we build up enough data with that secondary offline conversion goal that tracks qualified leads and sales, then switch the campaigns to optimize for that level of data. Then things get super profitable because the system's like extremely good at getting you exactly what's making money versus a call. There's so many different types of calls. You'll make triple the money doing optimization of your campaigns based upon profit versus just cost per call. And PMAX especially, because PMAX is so unchained. At least with a search campaign, you can like run exact match keywords and you can kind of pretty much drill it in. And looking at the search term data, you can actually see what negative keywords they add. With PMAX, you don't have that, which is why you don't want to run it. But if you were going to run it, importing the opportunities and then a sale, or at least if a sale doesn't normally occur within 90 days, which is the maximum time to import a sale to Google Ads through the offline conversion tracking process, then you would score the lead between 1 and 10, 10 being the best, and then have the system through maximize conversion value bidding strategy, then optimize for the highest quality leads on an ongoing basis versus any lead, which isn't going to get you nowhere near the results. Want to have more tips, like I just mentioned, about how to set up PMAX and search campaign and whatnot? This is the best information you can find on YouTube, I promise you, on that exact topic, because the information I'm giving you here is based upon hundreds of campaigns that I've set up and seen the ways that work, that don't work. And I spend 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm as my sole job. I spend my weekends sharing what works and what doesn't work here at our firm. And I manage dozens of ad accounts on an ongoing basis to know exactly what's effective and what's not, which is unique because most of these bozos on YouTube are not running any campaigns, or they run a couple campaigns. They're the owner of a firm and they don't actually do any of the work themselves. They're not in the trenches doing it. So you're not getting practitioners teaching you anything. It's speculation. And I'm in the market, so I know what they're good at with fancy graphics and everything else besides telling you what works. If you're going to pay attention to anything and you are serious about making millions of dollars a year running ads for your business, this is the information you want to pay attention to. Therefore, you should subscribe. You should also check out my blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog while you're at it. The blog has actual step-by-step instructions we're using to guarantee results for our clients. And there's screenshots and everything there. So if you are hungry for information, you like this channel, you should definitely check that out as well. Beyond that, for the case study I was going to mention here, we had a client who sold aquatic supplies, reefs and stuff that you put in an aquarium, like that. Client was using maximized conversions bidding strategy on their PMAX campaign when we came in. I explained just what I explained to you in today's video about how all the proclivities that Google has, it's going to optimize for small customers versus big ones. And yes, there's going to be a little bit of pain switching over to maximize conversion value bidding strategy. We got to do it because you're going to make way more money once you switch over to this. Just the simple act of switching this over to maximize conversion value bidding strategy versus the maximize conversions bidding strategy we had before, the result, we're able to keep scaling. Usually with PMAX for e-commerce, like I said earlier, the only type of business you want to run PMAX for the most part, or just in general, you could say that, you get to a point where your campaign won't scale anymore, and then you're stuck. This will uncork a stale campaign that's not scaling anymore. The amount of money that we were able to scale once we simply switched this over was about 5% a month. After 12 to 18 months, we were more than double where we started with in terms of the sales and profit that this campaign brought in. So there's no reason not to switch this over that I could think of at all why anybody would not switch this over. And the reason why I make this video is because a lot of clients I see, they don't switch it over for some reason. They don't think through this logic flow as to why this conversion value, maximize conversions bidding strategy is not going to make you the most money. Give you several other instances like that where we switched it over. The client just really didn't get it in terms of maximize conversion value being the strategy you would want. In terms of lead generation, you can make a lot more money switching over to maximize conversion value bidding strategy as well. Usually when a client's using PMAX for lead gen, I just say, hey, this is dumb. Let's set up some tight search campaigns, and then you will have proper results. We'll scale everything up from a much better foundation. We don't mess around trying to get PMAX to work with better quality conversion data. Even though if we had to, we could and would, it's just better to have a search campaign that you scale because it'll run super efficient and there's way more controls. You can dial everything in much better. Unless you had like a PMAX campaign running for a lead generation business for like 10 years, then I might be able to try to work with that PMAX campaign just due to the wealth of data that that campaign has, which most of your results on Google Ads is going to be based upon past history and conversion data that you've built up, or just history of the account, data where Google's looked at and seen who's clicked on your ad that not came back to Google versus stayed on your website, which indicates somebody who's likely to purchase something. And therefore, it's really hard to make money with new accounts because you're going up against people who have all that data. And that's why you have to be super good at the beginning if you're ever going to get to the point where you're break even or past break even with your campaigns before running out of money, because you have such an informational disadvantage going against you when you start advertising. And that goes when you start up a new account as well as even a new campaign. But with that said, I'm going to wrap everything up with that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said maximize conversion value was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.